Hello everyone. I welcomes all of you to this lecture. So in last lecture we have completed unit number 1, that is a transducers. So under that unit number 1 we have studied different types of transducers which are used for measurement of different types of quantities. So transducer is a device which converts physical quantity into electrical signal. Okay, so that is a very basic part of our subject, that is measurement and instrumentation. Okay, so that part we have completed. Now that sensor part or transducer part we can say. Now we have to start with new chapter or new unit, that is data acquisition system. Okay, so let us see what do we mean by data acquisition system. Okay, so let us understand what do we mean by data acquisition. So if you see the data acquisition, it is the process of sampling signals that measures real world physical conditions and converting the resulting samples into digital numeric values so that it can be manipulated by a computer. Okay, so data acquisition is one process which measures the real physical condition, real world physical condition, and they are converting this real world physical condition into the samples or a data type which can be manipulated by a computer or digital systems. Okay, so this is basic definition of a data acquisition. Okay, and if you see the data acquisition, why it is required? Because you are interfacing different types of transducers with different types of systems. Okay, so what is the important thing is that the output given by the transducer must be converted into a form which can be processed by our system or our applications. Okay, so that's why the data acquisition is required, and the most important part inside a data acquisition is nothing but your signal condition. Okay, so signal condition is very important block in any system we can say. Okay, so why it is important? Because generally what happens, we are connecting transducer to measure the physical quantity. Okay, so for example, suppose we want to measure a temperature. Okay, so temperature transducer must be connected here so that it can sense this temperature and give the value in terms of the output. Okay, but if you see the transducer, it is generally converting this physical quantity into electrical signal, but that electrical signal cannot be directly applied to your digital systems or computers. Okay, so what we have to do is that we have to connect different blocks in between this transducer's output and direct our computer's input we can say. So we cannot connect directly this output of this transducer to a computer. In between this you may have to use different types of blocks that can be a signal conditioning, and after that it is given to the analog to digital converter. Okay, so let us understand what do we mean by signal conditioning first. Okay, so signal conditioning is a stage of an instrumentation system which is used for modifying the transducer signal or transducer output signal into a usable format for the final stage. Okay, see what we have seen is that the transducer is converting a physical quantity into electrical signal. Okay, it is just an electrical signal which is proportional to the input quantity, but see that electrical quantity is not a data directly which can be stored in this computer. So that so what we have to do here is that we have to convert that electrical quantity into what we can say usable format. Okay, means sometimes we may have to remove the noise at the output of this one. Sometimes we may have to convert that low voltage into a high voltage, so we may require some amplification, some filters to remove the noise. Okay, so this comes under signal conditioning. Okay, because the transducer output cannot be directly stored, so in between that we have to use the different types of quantities. So for example, there is one temperature sensor which you may use in future in third year or last year. So that temperature sensor named as LM35, it is converting temperature into output voltage. Okay, but that output voltage is in millivolt, so that millivolt cannot be directly applied to our system. Okay, so what is the need at the output is that we have to convert that millivolt into voltage so that we can sense that. Okay, so if you see that if you consider 5 volt as a logic 1 and 0 volt as a 0 volt, so we have to just convert that output voltage quantity into suitable format so that we can sense. Okay, so this is called as a signal conditioning. It is just modifying the transducer output into usable format or as per your requirement of your application or a system. Okay, so this is about signal conditioning. So let us see different types of signal conditionings. So just we have discussed, again we will discuss about this, what is the signal condition, then we will see the types. So signal condition is the manipulation of an analog signal in a such a way that it meets the requirement of a next stage for the further processing. Just we have discussed that further processing we require the signal in our suitable format, so that may not be at the output of a transducer, so we have to require signal conditioning in between that. Okay, so in control engineering applications it is common to have a sensing stage, okay, which consists of a sensor or a transducer. Then signal conditioning stage, where amplification of the signal is done, and the processing stage where we can connect ADC and microcontroller. Okay, so in between this microcontroller and this transducer or a sensor, we require signal conditioning. That you have to keep in mind. You cannot give the output of a sensor directly to our microcontroller. Okay, this is the important thing you have to mention. This is the conclusion of our discussion till now. That is, transducer is not directly connected to microcontroller. In between transducer and a microcontroller, we have to connect one block which is called as a signal conditioning. So which will fulfill the requirement of a microcontroller. Okay, so microcontrollers input parameters suppose if you see the microcontroller, so we have to apply the input to the microcontroller in the form of zeros and ones, so for that purpose you may require the signal conditioning. Okay, so signal conditioning system may be required to perform linear processes such as amplification, attenuation, integration, differentiation, addition or a subtraction. Okay, and they are also used to do non-linear process like a modulation, demodulation, then sampling, so filtering, clipping, clamping, squaring, linearization or multiplication. Okay, so these are different processes which are carried out under a signal conditioning. So signal conditioning is a very big term. Okay, so it is a very vast term. It is not just amplifying the signal and removing the noise. It is giving you a signal in your required format. Okay, so that's why every signal conditioning which is used in every system may be different. Okay, some may be just amplifying that signal. Some signal conditioning blocks may just attenuating that input signal. Okay, some may be just removing the noise and directly applying. Some may be some may be doing multiplication. Some may be doing filtering, sampling, demodulation. Okay, so these are the different types of processes which can be carried out under a signal conditioning block. So that's why I have shown here one diagram which gives you a brief idea about what the signal conditioning block is doing. Okay, so if the signal is non-linear, it may be converted into linear. If the signal is having high amplitude and it cannot be, I suppose it cannot be given to directly our microcontroller, then we have to just attenuate that or reduce the amplitude. Then if the signal is having a very low amplitude in a millivolt or a microvolt, then it may be amplified with the help of signal conditioning. If it is a noisy, then the noise can be removed. If it is analog, we may get a digital. If it is non-isolated, you may get isolated or we can say separated output. Okay, so this type of signal conditioning may be used. Again, I am repeating, it is application specific or a system specific. Okay, so this is all about the signal conditioning. So let us see two types of signal conditionings, that is DC signal conditioning and AC signal conditioning. Okay, so let us see what happens in a DC signal conditioning system. So I think you got the idea about this. That DC signal conditioning means what? All the parameters will be here DC. Okay, see how the DC signal conditioning is done. So for that we have to consider one simple example. Okay, now suppose you are using temperature transducer. Okay, so what is the use of that temperature transducer? So it is converting the change in temperature into change in the resistance. Okay, so we can say it is direct. It cannot be directly converted into electrical signal. Okay, that we have seen. Suppose we are using a PRT here. So what will happen here? This PRT's resistance will change as the temperature changes. Okay, so this is called as measure and or the quantity to be measured. Now this PRT is not directly giving you a what we can say the electrical signal. So for that purpose we have to convert that PRT in a bridge. Okay, so previously we have seen one example in last chapter, that how PRT is connected into bridge, Wheaton's bridge, and how that change in resistance is converted into change in voltage. So that bridge is considered there is a Wheaton's bridge. Okay, so we can say that this is a passive transducer, and it is given to the output of this is given to the bridge, or that transducer is connected in a bridge. Okay, but this bridge cannot be operated directly. For that purpose you require the DC excitation source. So this is a DC excitation source, or we can say DC supply, which is connected to the bridge. Okay, please recall, please go through that video again. I am telling to you that please go to that video, that PRT video, then you may get what I am telling to you. Okay, so this bridge is required because that PRT is not converting that resistance into electrical signal. So this bridge is converting the change in resistance into change in electrical signal, and for that purpose we require DC source or DC signal. Okay, but at that time I have also mentioned about the calibration, because whatever the output voltage that is given by that bridge, okay, so that is again proportional to what this temperature, but that must be what calibrated. Okay, so what do you mean by calibrated? So calibration and zeroing network is there. So what do you mean by calibration? That you have to consider, or that you have to keep in mind. So calibration is a process of measuring our system's output with a standard output. Okay, so there may be a standard bridge which will be providing a standard output. Just you have to compare that output with this one. Is it matching or not? Or if it is not matching, we have to adjust the value of the resistor so that it can match with that standard value. This is the simple process of a calibration. Okay, so number of times you may require to do the calibration of the system, because calibration is just checking your output with a standard output, and if there are any errors, it can reduce. Okay, so as per that we can make the adjustment here. So this is the calibration which is done in every instrument or every system. Okay, if you see your CRO, if you see your power supply, it is also calibrated, or we have to calibrate that after certain period of a time, because sometimes it may give error after the purchase. So that's why we have to calibrate. Okay, so for example, suppose you are purchasing a power supply. Okay, but if you see that power supply, if you set the 5 volt to that power supply, and if you measure that power output of that power supply with a multimeter, and if it is showing 6 volt, then we can say that there is a error of a 1 volt, so that we can adjust the display value or inside parameter of that power supply. So this is called as a calibration. Okay, so I think you got this idea now after this example. Okay, means what? Suppose you have designed one power supply, and that power supply is giving you 5 volt, but after checking display is showing a 5 volt, but after checking with the multimeter, if it is showing a something different value, okay, rather than this one, so we can say that and there is an error, so that we can adjust that voltage. So this process of measuring your system's output with some standard, that can be called as a calibration process, so which allows you to reduce the errors, and if it is okay, then it can directly forward to the next block. Okay, so this is all about the calibration. So as the signal is a DC, we require the DC amplifier, and again the amplifier will require separate power supply, because we have to increase the strength of the signal. Okay, so what is the amplifier? It is just increasing the strength or amplitude of the input signal. Okay, and the output of this is given to the low pass filter. Okay, but see, the important thing is that this DC amplifier is having some losses. Okay, so or we can say some drawback. So what is that drawback? So drawback is, most important drawback is that there may be a drift problem. Okay, so there may be a drift in this amplifier. So what do you mean by drift? That you have to consider. So drift means what? You may get some output here without applying any input voltage here. So that may be called as a drifting of an amplifier. So this should be reduced. Okay, because even if we are not applying any input signal, we are getting at the output some voltage, then we can say that there is error in the amplifier, or we can say drifting in the amplifier. So this is due to some offset voltage inside this different components which are using here. Okay, offset means what? By default voltage will be there, and that maybe gets amplified inside. Okay, so that's why the drifting will be there. So this is the biggest advantage of DC signal conditioning system. Okay, now how to reduce that? Just we have to use AC signal conditioning, that we will see afterwards. So just see that this is the drawback of a DC amplifier. Now the output of this DC amplifier is generally provided to what? Low pass filter. Okay, so what do you mean by low pass filter? So low pass filter will only pass low frequency components. It will reduce high or attenuate, we can say, or block high frequency components. Okay, so why there is need of this low pass filter? If you see, generally the noise signal is generally it will look like the AC signal or a disturbance. Okay, so the noise signals are generally having a high frequency signals. Okay, so they must be blocked before applying to the system. Okay, so that's why the low pass filter is used, which is generally used to pass the low frequency. Or if you see the DC signal, it is not having any frequency, we can say. Ideally it is, the frequency is a 0. So it is just directly applying the signal here, and if there is any noise in present in between these two blocks, so it is removed by this low pass filter. So low pass filter passes only low frequency and it blocks high frequency signal like a noise, and that that output is applied to the our next stage of a processing. Okay, so this is all about the DC signal conditioning. Okay, but generally the output of a transducer is a DC, so that's why we are using a DC. But the problem is with the drifting of this amplifier, that will be reduced with the help of a AC signal conditioning. Let's have a look on this. Okay, so what do you mean by AC signal conditioning? So I think you now got the idea about this. AC signal conditioning means what? The whole process will be carried out under the AC signal. Okay, now see, again consider the same PRT or platinum resistance thermometer, we can say. That transducer is connected to the bridge. Okay, but see, now this bridge is operated with the help of a carrier oscillator. Okay, so what do you mean by oscillator? Oscillator is a circuit which generates the AC signal. Okay, so previously we have seen that bridge was operated by DC signal, but now we are operating this bridge with the AC signal, that is a alternating signal, we can say. Okay, now this carrier oscillator is now providing the AC signal to this bridge, and we can say that the output is generally the modulated output. Okay, so if you have studied the electronic communication system, then you may know that this term, that is a modulation of a signal, or you may study in upcoming days or upcoming semester that electronic communication system. Under that you may get the idea of the modulation. Okay, so I am just briefing about the modulation. What do you mean by modulation? This output of a bridge will change as per the frequency of the signal and the transducer output. Okay, but keep one important thing is that the output is a AC signal here. Okay, so why we are using this AC signal? Then I will clarify, don't worry. Okay, so this AC oscillator, again I am repeating, AC oscillator is generating AC signal here, and this AC signal modulates the transducer's output, which is a DC. Okay, and combinedly here AC signal will be produced as per the transducer output. Okay, and this again it is calibrated. So what do you mean by calibrated? That I have mentioned earlier. And after the calibration, it is given to the amplifier, because sometimes if you see the transducer, its output is very low. Sometimes it may be in microvolt or millivolt. So that's why we may require in a volts. So that's why we may require the amplifiers. Okay, so that's why we are using amplifiers. So now we are using AC amplifier, and there is no any drifting problem in AC amplifier. Okay, means there will not be any offset problem or any other thing. So that's why the AC amplifier is very suitable for amplification of this AC signal. Okay, so this AC amplifier amplifies the modulated signal which is given by the bridge, by this bridge and calibration block, and now this AC amplified signal is given to the phase sensitive detector. Okay, so again I am not going to deep into that. What is a phase sensitive? You may study in coming years. Okay, but just to keep in mind that this phase sensitive detector is just converting your AC signal or into, we can say, DC signal. Means what? It is just removing the AC signal from that signal, and it is extracting original DC, which is the output of a transducer. Okay, so here we have seen that this AC signal is merged with this DC signal of this output of this transducer or a bridge. Okay, and just amplification purpose we are using this AC signal or oscillator, but at the last we have to recover that DC signal. Okay, because the output of that transducer is a DC, so that's why we have to remove the AC components, and we have to get the signal into DC form again, because again for processing we are not processing AC signal, we are processing DC signal. That you have to keep in mind. Okay, so for that purpose what we are doing, we are using phase sensitive detector, which is removing the AC components and giving you a DC signal here. And now this DC signal is applied to the low pass filter, which is again passing that signal directly, and if there is any noise or high frequency component which may disturb the system, that can be blocked with the help of this low pass filter. Okay, so just if you see this 1, 2, 3 and these 4 blocks are different with respect to previous diagram. Okay, but you have to keep in mind that output of the both AC and DC signal conditioning is DC, because for processing we have to apply the DC. Okay, so just what arrangement we have done for the just we have to remove the drawbacks of a DC amplifier, so that's why we have used a AC amplifier, and so that's why there is need of a oscillator, carrier oscillator, which is generating AC signal. Okay, so what do you mean by carrier, what do you mean by modulation? These are the terms from the subject electronic communication system, and when you may study that subject, you will understand what is the meaning of that. So the problem of with this subject is that you may face different types of diagrams or different types of subjects concepts which you may have not studied yet. Okay, before studying that subject you have to study that part inside this. Okay, so for example, just I have discussed about this carrier and modulation, so these are concepts from another subject but you have not yet studied. So just like this, while studying a DAC or ADCs, we may study operational amplifier. So based upon operational amplifier, again there is one subject named as linear integrated circuits, but before studying that subject you have to see in this unit how it is used. Okay, so that is the problem, but at that time I will just explain the purpose of that. Okay, for understanding purpose I will explain. Okay, don't worry, but in future you may study that. Okay, don't worry, but I will just mention, I have mentioned about this carrier and modulation, so don't worry about that. So this is all about the AC and DC signal conditioning. So just we have studied about why signal conditioning is required and how it is done. Okay, now let us start with next part, that is a digital to analog converters. Okay, now just we have studied about the conditioning. Now this conditioning output may be applied to the next processing blocks. Okay, so it may be DAC, it may be ADC, which is extensively used with your microcontrollers or microprocessors. Okay, so that's why these are also most important parts when there is application or sensing application is there. This DAC and ADCs are most important parts. Okay, so DAC stands for digital to analog conversion and ADC stands for analog to digital conversion. Okay, so in this chapter we have to study this different types of DACs, different types of ADCs. Then what do you mean by digital voltmeter, that we have to study. Okay, and before that just we have discussed about the signal conditioning. Okay, so what is the DAC? So DAC is digital to analog converter which takes a digital code as an input and produces an analog voltage or a current as its output. So this analog output is proportional to the digital input. Okay, so what do you mean by digital input? That you have to consider, that you have to study first or understand first. So digital input is generally given in the form of a binary 1 or binary 0. Okay, so if there is a 0 1 0 1 pattern or 1 0 1 0 pattern or continuous bit streams are there, then that can be called as a digital signal. Okay, if you see our computers or your mobile phones, they are generally processing these binary bits. They don't understand your instructions, then your logics. They don't understand anything. They just understand the language of a binary, and that is called as a digital data. Okay, if you take a simple example, suppose if you are playing a song, then that song is again stored in a memory card in the form of what? this binary pattern. Okay, if there is a file, word file or ppt file, that is again stored in the form of a binaries or a 0101. So this is called as a digital data. Okay, so sometimes you may have to convert that digital data into analog for certain applications. For example, suppose there is a speaker which is operated by your microcontroller or your computer. Okay, so what computer will send? Computer will send just binary data, and that digital to analog converter will convert that binary data or digital data into the physical signal like a sound. Okay, so that's why in that case you may require the digital to analog converter. Okay, so this is the DAC, which is converting digital signal into analog output, which can be voltage like this or the current. Okay, but this shape is not fixed. Again, I'm repeating, it is again totally based upon the input signal that you are going to apply. Okay, that we will see in further slides. So here it is shown what is a digital to analog converter or a DAC. So digital to analog converter is a block which takes digital bits like this and convert into a single output. So it may be have n number of inputs and it may have a single output. Okay, so every digital to analog converter, we can say, will be having multiple inputs and single output. Okay, so here it is shown that if you see this 3-bit digital to analog converter, it is having 3 inputs, D0, D1 and D2. So where this is LSB, least significant bit, we can say D0, then D1, and D2 is a MSB, the most significant bit. So this is a 3-bit DAC which is having 3 inputs and single output. Okay, so that's why we can say that n-bit DAC may be having 2 raised to n number of inputs. Okay, so it may be 2 raised to n number of inputs, and it may be having, or it will be having only one output. Okay, which is a analog. Okay, so for today's lecture, this much will be sufficient. In next lecture, we will see types of a digital to analog converter. Okay, so thank you very much. Let's meet in a next lecture.